Now we want to bring Matt Hunter, the President and Chief Executive Officer of the Greater Pocatello Chamber of Commerce. He has a question for all of the candidates. As a reminder, you'll each have 90 seconds to answer. The order of the answering for this question will be Mr. Carta, Mr. Blad, Mr. Chase, and then Mr. Shepard. So, Matt.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to ask questions today. As you know, there are concerns throughout Idaho and in Pocatello that we have too many minimum wage jobs and that we have low take-home pay in Idaho and Pocatello. With that said, how do you see yourself leading the charge on economic development in the Pocatello community? Thank you.
Mr. Carter.
Economic development. Well, mistakes were made of the past. Hopefully we can change them for the future. People know when I came into this community, I came with a package that I met with commissioners, I met with city officials to look at compensation for money spent here, money that can be then changed around and utilized for jobs instead of cover-up of the uranium contamination materials here. So jobs, there's all kinds of jobs. I met with businesses all through here, this community, that would want to participate in cleaning up this community, making it a community worth coming here for, a community rich with tourist abilities. We have a beautiful area. Just trying to maintain it instead of a cleanup that happens at the end of a year rather than at the early in the summer. So instead of having a trashed park, so we could actually have some beautification areas in the community. So jobs, businesses, hopefully we make better choices on them. I'm a grand supporter of entrepreneurism here. In fact, we're organizing, and I've been organizing the Pocatello Entrepreneurial Business Association, a place for people to communicate and share. People to use their energy, their ideas to come together and share and create new jobs here. There's people doing it all the time here now. Maybe it's a little agriculture group like a CSA, Community-Supported Agriculture. Maybe it's just a little business branching out and diversifying in their little place and adding more people, seeing what space they can use. There's a lot of avenues that we haven't really touched upon.
Thank you very much. Mr. Blatt?
Thank you. Minimum wage jobs, that's a concern anybody in any kind of leadership has. Anybody in the community would have a concern with minimum wage jobs. So what I've done while in office, we've been very aggressively attacking the industry that will bring higher wage jobs into our community. Allstate's a great example of that. Allstate was coming to Pocatello. It was going to be in the Pocatello Square, and there was a conflict with Allstate. At that point is when the work really started. When Allstate called me and said, we will not go to Southeast Idaho at this point because of that conflict, a day later I made a phone call. Not only to Allstate did I make a phone call, said it was unacceptable, I made a trip to Allstate to make sure that it would happen. I went back to Chicago, Illinois. And there we discussed it. We brought Allstate here to the community. Those wages are $16 to $18 a wage jobs for the lower end jobs. There's 850 jobs going into that Allstate building now. We've had Peterson Incorporated, one that was going to leave the community. We fought to keep them into the community as well. The Postal Service last year was going to close down the Annex Center, the distribution center. I'm the only mayor in this country that went to Washington, D.C. to fight for our jobs here in Pocatello, to keep those. And because I was able to do that, and because we did that, they pulled the distribution center off of the list of being closed at that time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chase?
Everybody wants to say that they're going to bring high-paying jobs to your community. I think the first thing you have to do, you have to have a plan. The plan that I would propose is you start, number one, with the companies that are here. You make sure that they're successful. We have companies here that pay good paying wages. The second thing that you need to do, you need to look at the resources that we have as a community. Number one resource that we have when it looks at job creation, particularly good job creation, is Idaho State University. You need to find companies that can rely on the research institutes that we have here. When I was mayor, we worked with ISU to bring research facilities to this university so that we could expand those opportunities for research institutions to come to our community. The third thing that I think that you need to do is you need to make sure that you work with your education leaders, not only in Pocatello but in the state of Idaho. You cannot have a successful economy if you don't have a good education program in the state. Idaho at this time struggles with providing a great education program. Thank God for the teachers and the people in our school district who do yeoman work to make sure that our kids are well educated. But again, good education and good paying jobs go together. Lastly, we need to work with our entrepreneur people to make sure that they have opportunities to develop their ideas in our community. Again, Idaho State University becomes a critical part of that. Things like the Eastern Idaho Tech Corridor, these things like the Idaho National Lab are companies we need to work with. In my consulting business, I have the opportunity to work in several counties in southeastern Idaho, and I know our economic efforts are not keeping up with those efforts. We have to change that. And lastly, we have to take care of the quality of life issues in our valley. We have to take care of our water. We have to take care of our hillsides. We have to make sure that our community is a good place to live. We have to make sure it's a safe place. Working together, we can bring good paying jobs to Pocatello.
Thank you. And Mr. Shepard.
I moved to Pocatello in 1990 with my daughter, making minimum wage, and since then I've done really well. Who would not want to live in Pocatello? Pocatello's the best place to be, 3 hours from Salt Lake, Boise, Jackson Hole, Wyoming. In 20 minutes you can be hunting and camping. Pocatello needs to let the world know we're open for business. We got to draw what we can, fight what we can, and I will be aggressive on that. We also can't forget the mom and pop stores who we do have to support. The more business and money we have rolling into Pocatello, everyone will be happy. Thank you.
Now a chance for rebuttal, if anyone would like. Mr. Carter, 30-second rebuttal.
Rebuttal. No, I'll pass.
Okay, Mr. Blad.
I would love to say a few words. I think there's a lot of really good things said. I think that talking about a plan, making things work, that's a great idea. We had 8 years of a plan that didn't go anywhere. We brought in a low-paying industry over the 8 years that I can remember, and that's disturbing to me. We had growth in Pocatello less than 2%. During the time of the economy was just booming, we had less than 2%. Everywhere else in the country was doubling their population. And so
Okay.
I agree, we have a plan. We need to stick to that plan.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chase.
Well, I can't let that slide by because that's not true. In the 8 years I was mayor, the average wage in Pocatello went up $6,000. The workforce grew by several thousand people. Even through the recession, when I left office, we had more jobs than the day I started. To say that we didn't have good paying jobs in Pocatello is a lie. If we were producing wages like we did when I came to this office, we would continue to be successful as this town. To increase wages by 25% in 8 years is a great thing to do. I'd be worried about this last year when the average wage in Pocatello has gone down $1,000. Our town's going in the wrong direction today, and we need to change that.
Thank you very much. Mr. Shepard, rebuttal.
On Mr. Chase's last statement, saying how he raised $6,000 in wages, I do remember in 2007, 2009, minimum wage went up $1.40. So if he did that for the whole nation, great. But I do believe citizens are being misinformed on that part. Thank you.